Dear Jess, this is the Mar Menor, or the Smaller Sea, in the province of Murcia, a huge saltwater lagoon separated from the Mediterranean by a thin strip of land, 24 kilometers long, known as La Manga, or the Sleeve. I've come to the fishing village of Cabo de Palos to prepare the eponymous, omnipresent Caldero del Mar Menor. The Mar Menor pot, or cauldron, Caldero, an old fisherman's thing where fish and rice are served together, yet, unlike paellas and so on, are cooked separately. So not surprisingly, I find the Caldero del Mar Menor on the menu of every restaurant in the town of Cabo de Palos. Sí. So you see here the rice being served alone first, and that it's quite loose, quite brothy, caldoso or meloso in Spanish, not dry like with the flat-style paellas and other rice dishes. The colour is dark due to the use of the small dried pepper, the ñora, as we'll see later. It's served with an aioli sauce, and then the fish appears. Most typically, mullet, thin-lipped mullet, known here as mulled. But dorada, bream, or lubina, sea bass, are also very typical, and in my view superior to this rather earthy flavoured mullet that, it has to be said, is not universally loved. In any case, the mullet is not used for the flavour base in which the rice cooks. A selection of rockfish, known here amusingly as rockers, are simmered with vegetables for about 20 minutes. Now the ñora peppers have their seeds removed and are just coarsely torn up in this manner and stirred around in olive oil for a couple of minutes, just to toast them, but not too hot, as they do burn quite easily. They're cooked just until they start to get a little crisp. Now the heads of the mulled, the mullet, are lightly browned in the same oil. Now a few cloves of garlic, and when just starting to turn golden, 2 tomatoes are grated in this typically Spanish manner. Gently cook this down for a few more minutes. Meanwhile, we bash up the ñora with salt and another clove of garlic if you like, until it's really pasty. And then this is stirred into the tomato reduction and cooked gently for another few minutes. The stock, about 800 millilitres, is brought to a simmer and the ñora paste is stirred in. See how this turns the stock a really nice dark colour. Now the thick slices of mullet are poached just for about 5 minutes, checking the seasoning of the broth as you go. Now strain the broth, reserving a few tablespoons for later to be served as a sauce for the fish, and add the rice, 100 grams per person. Cooking time 20 minutes. Checking for salt towards the end. As the rice cooks, you can make the aioli in the usual way. Bash up a clove or 2 of garlic with a pinch of salt and an egg yolk, and very slowly at first, whisk in olive oil, drop by drop, until you have an emulsion going. Keep slowly drizzling in the rest of the oil, whisking energetically all the while. Check the seasoning and squeeze in a few drops of lemon. So there you have it. When the rice is still slightly soupy, turn off the heat and cover for 5 minutes. A little of the reserved stock is poured over the fish, and rice served separately, preferably on another plate. The flavour of this rice is wonderfully intense, and although this is just a simple fisherman's dish made to use up all the fish not considered worthy for the market, nowadays you'll find it being enjoyed in local restaurants all the way from Alicante to Cartagena. For me, all too quickly, it's time to leave this charming port of Cabo de Palos, but as this episode draws to a close, I'm already looking forward to more local specialities from the back roads of Spain, France and Portugal. So do join me again soon in Almeria to see what's cooking down there.